parkway in my automobile, trying to get back to my pappy's corn liquor steal. Soon as I crossed that Buncombe County line, something in the air blew my podcast up high. It was a wisdom from the chicks in the city sticks, and I knew right then it was gonna be my fix. No need for white lightning to get my start. It's hey Lord, have mercy, Hannah, bless your heart. Wardy, yeah, you know what I mean. It's not strange, take it from me. Wardy, come and listen and see weird mountain gals on the Wardy. Up on Weird Mountain, they've been getting their kicks, jamming on the porch just a hit and mash. Stirring up the pot, that's what they do best. They can dish it out till there ain't none left. W-Y-R-D, yeah, you know what I mean. No, it's not strange, you can take it from me. W-Y-R-D, so come and listen to see Weird Mountain Gals on the Wardy. Well, I finally found my pappy's corn liquor steal. Filled up the jug and had to hit the trail. Gotta get back to the cottage in the Mashville woods, to the Weird Mountain Gals neighborhood. Wardy, yeah, you know what I mean. It's not strange, you can take it from me. Wardy, come and listen and see Weird Mountain Gals on the Wardy. It's them Weird Mountain Gals on the Wardy. It's them Weird Mountain Gals on the Wardy.
Do you consider yourself normal? Then this is not the show for you. Please go somewhere else. This is WYRD. If it's getting weird, it's got to be the Weird Mountain Gals show. You're listening to Byron and Alicia, the Weird Mountain Gals.
You were so you were polite when we were talking just then, and I was like, we must be recording this.
Listen, I can be polite when I'm just being in, conversation. I don't have to be my usual impolite and awful self.
Oh, I know. I'm just giving you a hard time. You don't
I
have an
know.
awful self anyway, but yeah, that was funny. So anyway, what I was saying before you so correctly pointed out that I ought to hit the record button. I wanted to find out.
I interrupted you.
Yeah. I'm a goober. I'm just a goober today. I just wanted to find out about your travels because you're full on into the travel season right now.
I am.
And,
Lord
so
have mercy.
you always sound a combination of tired but so satisfied usually after.
Well, when I was a kid, it was just I love to travel. And my home situation wasn't great, and where I lived was not great. The house I lived in was not great. So
Yeah.
I don't know if it developed into that kind of wanderlust or not, but I love to travel, and every time I get to a place where I'm thinking, oh God, I'm gonna be home for 7 days and I'm gonna go back out, I go, yeah, but you'd love to travel, and I really do. Even if it makes me tired, I really do love it. And sometimes when I get to where I'm going, I don't love that.
Yeah.
But I do. Like right now, probably about 7 o'clock or so, my ride's going to come. We're going to load up the car, get on 40 if they've cleared off that big wreck. I hope they have. And then and go west, young woman. I'm gonna go west to Pagan Unity Fest. And I'm excited. I'm ready to go, except for brushing my hair and braiding it down. And I got all my stuff packed up, ready to go. Got myself a little glass of cold coffee, iced coffee.
Nice.
Well, it's really cold. It's really cold coffee because it ain't got no ice in it, but it's got cold almond milk and coffee. It's yummy.
It sounds very yummy. Well, after how long are you at Puff?
I come back here Monday,
and then where to next?
And then I'm home for golly bum almost 2 weeks.
Wow.
And then I go off and honestly, you need to come with me to this thing sometime. It's Appalachian Summer Solstice up at Wisteria in southern Ohio.
I want to.
And it is so much fun. And I've been going there for many and many a year now. And they treat me like a queen. This year's going to be even better because last year we got hit with just a terrible storm, like almost a tornado kind of storm. And it just destroyed my tent.
Oh, I remember that.
Remember that? And they said, well, why don't you just stay in the trailer? Because they've got a trailer that they have for guests. So this year, when they said, okay, you coming back? And I said, yes. And could I just stay in the trailer from the beginning and not bring a tent? And they said, yes. So I don't even have to bring a tent and set all that stuff up, all that misery.
That's luxury.
It is luxury.
That's the way to do it. Well,
I feel very privileged, and they are good people, and I'm going to be teaching a couple new classes. And something we started last time I was there, which I guess was last year, was having a discussion about different aspects of Appalachia. So this year we're going to have I'll give like a little talk, and then we'll have a discussion about what's going to save Appalachia, what's going to do it, because it sure doesn't look very good for us right now.
No, it doesn't. Well, I'm not really in a very optimistic mood about some of that stuff. Some questions about the future right now, but what's going to save Appalachia? If somehow, by some miracle, if they even exist, if we all as humans get our poop in a group and quit destroying the environment and quit trying to erase history, then at that point maybe we'll have a better chance to survive, or Appalachia will. But I don't know. I don't see people putting much value other than talking about it on saving things from the past.
No, me either.
So I think we're doomed to repeat our mistakes over and over and over again until the planet explodes.
Well, until the planet shakes us off. What'd Crystal say today? Shake us off like fleas. Yeah, I don't know, but we'll talk about it, and it'll be a good talk. And then I've been working on this character, and I'm gonna call her a goddess, an Appalachian goddess, but maybe I'll call her Appalachian spirit. I did a poem about her called and she's called Bone Woman.
Ooh.
And she drove a big Cadillac, and she didn't care what nobody thought of her and all that stuff. Well, she is one of the spirit characters in this new book I'm writing, and her other name was Plum Kilt Woman.
Kilt.
Yeah, and her other name was White Mamaw. And anyway, she's a death goddess. So I've been writing about her in this book, Plum Kilt Woman. And so I contacted the folks up at Summer Solstice yesterday, and I said, you know what I'd like to do? Have y'all got room in schedule for me to do a ritual that's an introduction to Plum Kilt Woman? And Aaron said, I'm going to check the schedule, but yeah, I'm pretty sure we do. So I'm going to figure out how to do a ritual for Plum Kilt Woman.
How to bring her to life?
She's just a little bit Cherokee, and she's a little bit Scots-Irish. And she's
Mm.
all the land, She's the bones of the land.
I
Plum
love
kill
that.
woman.
I love that. I love that thought. You're so creative.
Well, I think, I'm not going to say she appears to me, but I think she's around here. And
Mhm.
she's perfectly happy to cut the threads.
Yeah.
She shows up and cuts the thread, and off you go to wherever we go.
Interesting. Well,
Yeah.
I can't wait. I cannot wait. You need to teach that class around here or give that
Maybe
presentation.
I will if I'm ever home.
Yeah. Well, you got 2 weeks coming up now.
Yeah, but I'm also writing this book that I got to get written before the beginning
Yeah.
of August.
What a schedule. What a
I
schedule.
know, it's crazy.
I like it though. You always sound the happiest when you're really, really busy.
I am. I know I am. I've done something crazy in my garden this year though. I have not grown squash in many a year
Oh,
because it takes up so much space in the garden.
yes.
Well, I don't think I'm going to be able to do a whole lot of gardening this year, so I just put in a lot of squash.
Why not?
Yeah, and I was out there today looking at it, and it was like, well, I don't know why you don't grow squash anyway, because look at us. Ain't we beautiful? And I was like, yes, you are. You're very beautiful. And it's already up. You know how I do it. I put 3 seeds in, one to rot, one to grow, and one for the crow. So, but they all came up. And
cool.
sooner or later I'll have to pull out the weaker ones. But yeah,
That's pretty cool. Well, I don't really have many hobbies, and I've been painting these clay flower pots, because it's something I can do even with my hands being kind of bad. I can still do that because folk art doesn't have to be precise, and plus it makes me happy. So that's what I do when I have a few minutes. I sit there and I'll paint on a pot. Well, I was over at Mom's over the weekend, and she had said something about some bears in the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
So I hopped on that Facebook page. There's a private neighborhood group on Facebook. And I saw where this woman had posted that she had a curb alert, and she had posted it just a few minutes before I happened to see it. And she was about a mile down the road. And I just hopped in my car because she said, many pots and plants, and please don't pick through it, but take it all. And I went down there, and Byron, I got over 100 pots.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And they're in good shape. Now, most of them are tiny, and that's perfect, because those are the ones I really like the best, are the little bitty ones. And you never hardly see them anywhere, but they're the ones that have, like, you see them with little air plants and stuff. But I got my first curb alert through Facebook, and by the time I got back and logged back in so that I could thank her, there were 3 other people there going, darn it, I missed it. Oh no.
God, you got on it.
I did. Make hay while the sun shines, baby. And now I've got enough clay pots to occupy my time for a while, and all I need to do is find my paints, which I could have
they run off?
They've run off. I could have swore I had them at your place, to tell you the truth, but I haven't seen them there. So I mean, they're probably in Hendersonville somewhere, or who knows? They could be anywhere.
They are UNNOFT.
Yes, they are.
I love that movie. I want to watch that movie again. I loved it.
It's one of my favorite movies. Are you in an OFT?
OFT. I reckon this has gone off.
Yep.
Oh, it's such a quotable movie too. I'm a dapper man. I'm a dapper Dan man.
Yes. Oh, I can just. Yes. Not the livestock.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Well, I never knew characters that were really like that, but I used to know some really out there kind of characters. There was a fellow.
People always saying to me, they listen to this podcast and they go, are y'all really like that? And I go, well, yes. I mean, how else would we be?
Like what?
Well, like we're like characters out of some old timey movie about mountain people, I guess.
Oh. Well, okay.
Are y'all really like that? Well, yeah. But
Yeah.
I was up at this thing, the thing I just got back from it early in the morning on Tuesday, which was yesterday.
Yesterday.
Yeah, I've been back for about 36 hours, I guess, 40, maybe 48. I don't know. Anyway, I was up in the Berkshires in Western Massachusetts.
Oh my.
So they picked me up in Connecticut at the airport and drove me into this place way out in the country, this beautiful, beautiful campground.
Okay.
And I can't remember. I think it's a YMCA campground
Okay.
on a lake. It was, just gorgeous. And at some point when I could start to see the hills, I said to the fellow that picked me up, "So what are the name of these mountains?" And he said, "Oh, they're called the Berkshire Mountains." And I said, "Are they part of the Appalachian chain?" And he said, "Well, yes, I believe they are." And I was like, "Oh,
Aw.
look, it's Appalachian Mountains. I just went from Appalachian Mountains to Appalachian Mountains." That makes me so happy.
Yeah.
But I made a concerted effort to use my neutral voice like this and not to use my normal natural accent, because I don't think they would have understood me.
Oh.
Because they were all from Massachusetts or New Hampshire. I think a couple of people from Vermont, some people from New York. And I just talked pretty as straight as I could.
Hmm. Well, I was thinking about our Southern voices. That's, the thing that stands out to me about people usually is not the way they look, but the way they sound.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so glad that I'm not a code switcher as much as I used to be, because I love our accents. If
I
do
do
say so,
too. And I
like it.
love having reclaimed it. But
Yeah.
I also know that if I teach above the Mason-Dixon line, there are people who, number one, are going to judge me based on my accent. And number two, are not going to understand half of what I say. So
No, that I
whatever message I'm trying to get through is going to get blurred and maybe not even heard at all because of the way I deliver it. So I still do a lot of code switching. I wish I didn't have to.
well, you're in public. See, I'm not teaching anymore, or I'm not saying
That's
that
true.
I'll never do it again, but for the short term, I'm really not in public much anymore like I used to be, and it's a real comfortable place.
Yeah.
But I have found that I still, if I'm wearing something awful and I don't want anybody to see me, I might as well just go change. Because if I go anywhere, even if it's just to put air in a tire or go grab a can of soup from the grocery store or something, I will meet everybody in that whole area that I've ever met, it seems like.
Isn't that the craziest thing?
It just never fails, is what it is. So that's all right. If that's all I've got to complain about, then I'm doing pretty good.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Well, last weekend, or this past weekend, excuse me, was the only street fair in Hendersonville that I still care about enough to maybe go. And it was the Garden Jubilee.
Oh, how was it?
It was wonderful. It was wonderful. So are you?
What?
Oh, I didn't know if you were still there or not. My monitor went blank for a second. Huh.
Oh, yeah, I'm still here.
I wonder if that's my computer getting old.
Maybe. I'm using my phone.
Are you? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, as far as any other big news, I don't really have any. I haven't really
You gotta
noticed.
go back and tell me about that garden thing in Hendo.
Oh, Garden Jubilee, thank you.
Yeah.
The squirrel. It's just a time when a lot of vendors bring out their most beautiful plants. And of course they charge their most beautiful prices for them too.
Yeah.
But if you just want to go and see some beautiful, lush plants, that's a real good place to do it. They also have a lot of outdoor things like furniture and gardening supplies and stuff, but it all seems to be kind of house and garden if that makes any
Yeah.
sense. It's like it's kind of yuppie.
And is that
But-
all? Is it right on the main street there?
It is. It is. And one of the reasons that I like it and will still go is because it's not just so big that everything is a fight through a crowd.
Like that damn Apple Festival. Oh,
And I used to love the Apple Festival.
me too.
I did, and too many people. Now I just don't want to. I don't want to do it. Maybe it's my age. You think? I'm just getting grumpy.
And because it's more people than it used to be. I mean, the same thing happened with Belshare, because it used to be fun and you would see a bunch of people you knew, and it was, it was hot and sweaty and, all that stuff, but there weren't 3,000 people.
Shoot. I know it, and that would
And
half
then
of them
there-
were.
Yeah.
Well, what can you say? It just seems to be the way of it. And I'm sure my past relatives have all noticed the same thing as they get older. It's like, well, I want things the way it used to be. Well, we're just never going to get that, I guess. So things are never going to
No,
be.
I guess not. But I talked to a lot of people this past weekend who were living in little towns of like 50,000 people or less or fewer. And they kind of knew, they felt like they knew everybody in town. And one woman was talking about how she could walk to just about anything she needed. She'd get a haircut, she'd get some groceries, she'd go see a movie. And I just thought, that just feels like 30 years ago.
It does. It does. I liked it.
Me too. Me
Even when I
too.
griped about it, I still liked it. And there was a feeling for me when I was in Robbinsville and I complained about it all the time. I could not get away with anything because it didn't matter where I was in town. Somebody would know me and know who my family was. They might not know me personally, but they could look at my hair or whatever. They'd say, that's Nellie Vaughn's granddaughter or whatever. So you could not get away with anything. But would I go back to that? Yes, in a heartbeat.
Well, because now you ain't trying to get away with anything.
Right. Well, so are you saying I was back then? Because I
Well,
was.
I mean, when we're that age, we're always trying to just, I don't know, not be attached to the family we're attached to, which is kind of embarrassing or old-fashioned or whatever.
Yep. Well,
Yeah.
I've always, and I know I've said this to you before, and I may have said it on the podcast. I have never felt like I was alone ever, not one time. And I always kind of, in the beginning, I attributed that to, well, it's because of being from little town and going to a little school in Nashville and stuff like that. As I got older, I realized that it was more along the lines of, guess what? I got ancestors and a lot of them.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I believe that I feel their presence more often than not.
Mhm.
But yeah, that whole small town vibe, I would go back to it in a heartbeat. I hate what Asheville has become. I hate to say that too, because I love Asheville as a city. Just don't like what it's become.
No, and golly, we beat that drum probably way too often, but it's hurtful. It hurts me.
Yeah, it does. It's the same. And I may not even put this in the podcast because like you said, we beat that drum a lot, but it's also true. So
It is true. It is true.
Yep. Well, so you don't really have to pack real big for this one, do you? This come back on
I
puffing.
gotta be honest with you. I didn't get. I packed really good for the up in the Berkshires in Massachusetts, and I came back here and I took out the dirty socks and I put in clean socks, and I took out the heavy sweater and I put in a couple of lightweight shirts because it's going to be warm over in Tennessee. I threw in a pair of sandals. I made sure I had all my toiletries. So yeah, it wasn't bad at all packing.
No.
I did
Do
that
you
pretty
ever-
fast.
Do you ever get out from these festivals and go into the towns?
No, hardly
Yeah.
ever. Because
That's what
they usually, here's a funny thing. When people hire me and pay me, as you know, the big bucks, they keep me pretty busy.
Yeah. And
So, yeah, so they keep me busy. Now, this place I just was at, they sold books for me. So I didn't have to sit in a booth. But most places, I've got all my books on the table somewhere with a pretty tablecloth. And when I'm not teaching a class or doing a ritual, I'm sitting at that table hawking my wares, making a little money. Come buy a book. Come buy a book.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what you do. Not do that, do you?
No. But I love to sit at the table and have people come by, and maybe they came to a class and they want to talk about what the class was, or they come by and look at books. And I'll be honest, I usually sell pretty good.
I'm sure.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, I'm sure
and I love, I love for people to have my books, and I love to sign them and all that stuff. So
Well,
it keeps me from going into town usually, and usually it's way out in the country somewhere, so there's not a town very close by.
yeah. Well, I was curious. I think I live vicariously through you sometimes. 'Cause you're living that life now that
I am on the road. I had to move my doctor's appointment that's supposed to be next week. I called them last week and they were having some kind of training, and there was a message and they said, "No, we will call you back." So they called me back and said, "We're sorry. I don't know if it was new equipment or what, but they're having training days." And she said, "Just call me back." And I don't remember when she said to, but then I was on the road and I didn't have signal at all, hardly. So I called again. I called this morning to say, "Okay, y'all called me last week about this, blah, blah, blah." And this gal was new. She's new to the practice that was taking my call. And we were trying to figure out when to reschedule it for. And I thought she was the girl that I usually see there, but she wasn't. She said, No, this is my first week." And I said, "Oh, well, I'm just on the road all the time, and he's just used to me slipping in when I can."
Yeah.
So we worked it all out. It was
Okay.
funny. I said, "Yeah, I'm on the road." And she said, "Oh, do you do that for work?" And I said, "Yes, I do." And we didn't say anything more about it.
She didn't ask you what you did for a living?
No.
Just assumed you were a long haul truck driver or something?
Maybe, or a fuller brush salesman.
Yeah.
That's what I'd like to be. In my
You might
fantasy
be
life, I'm a fuller brush woman.
And then you take the interesting house, and those are the ones you go into.
Yes, exactly.
Right?
Well, I had a funny thing happen this morning. We came out to go to the grocery store, and there is a sweet little white dog in the driveway. And I patted my leg like you do. I went, "Come here, come here, come here." And it had a collar on, and I turned the collar over, and it had its name and said Town Mountain Road. And I was like,
Wow.
"Well, buddy, you got pretty far, didn't you?" But then Joe caught it so that I could call the number. And I called the number, and it's our neighbor who's 2 doors down, who also has a house up on Town Mountain. And I said, "Hello." And this man's voice answered, "Hello, hello. Who is this?" And I said, "Do you have a dog?" And I called the dog's name. And he said, "Hold on." And then I could hear a woman's voice, and I said, "Well, I'm right up I'm what did I say? Where are you?" I said, "So where are you? Because I've got your dog." And she said, "Well, oh, I'm right down here." So she was 2 doors down. So she came up, and it's somebody I've known for many years. I just didn't know the dog. But it was so funny. He was such I think sweet little dog. And I went, "Oh, well."
I love them all. I'd keep every one of them if I could. But that is pretty funny. It's like, okay, small world.
Well, so you're doing good, and we are still going to work out when we can go down to the Foxfire place.
Yes, open for the first week or so in October. I think that'd be a good time. But I want you to check your schedule and just kind of let me know And
Yeah, I
yeah,
think
so
I'm going to be in town except for one weekend. I'm going to be in town for October. Somebody
okay.
tried to hire me to come in. Oh, no, that ain't the truth. I agreed to go down to Opelika, Alabama for some time because I'm just going to go down to see a friend who's doing
Oh,
something witchy something. And
oh,
I've always loved the name Opelika, Alabama. So I'm gonna drive
yes.
down there. I reckon, crazy like I am.
Well,
That's what you ought to do. You ought to come with me down to Opelika, Alabama.
I would do it. I would really do it. I may
Well,
have to.
if if mother's okay,
Mm-hmm.
if you got somebody to keep an eye on mother.
Mm-hmm. Which who knows? Who knows? I've had good news in the family. I'm not going to say it on the podcast, so I don't want to jinx anything. So never
Mm-hmm.
mind.
Well, we'll keep our fingers crossed.
Yeah, that would be very lovely.
Yodeling.
We're at 9 minutes and 18,
All right.
18 seconds.
Well, it's probably time to do the Appalachian goodbye.
I believe it might be.
You
So
got anything else to say?
I did, and I'm racking my brains right now. Oh well, I don't know.
We
Oh, I
talked
was
about meat. We talked about what AI. We talked about planting beans and squash and
yeah, and yeah,
all the little pots.
all the usual stuff and the little pots. Oh, did I tell you about the porno star story?
No.
Well, you ever heard of a vanity search where you get on the internet and you search for your name and stuff?
Oh yeah, I do that sometimes.
So my mother was explaining how she got my name, how she named me. And I always thought it would be like some noble thing, but it wasn't. I guess she saw some woman on TV singing. She was a vocalist.
Singing?
Mhm. And she named me after that person. So
Oh,
I said, well, who was it? She told me the name. And I got out there to look this person up. And the only name I saw I saw this Alicia Rhodes. That was her name, Rhodes, like Judy,
yeah.
Went and looked, and she's a porn star. I'm
Oh,
like, ah.
oh my
So
God.
that's not the one that she named me after, but that's
Well,
the only one that
I would
showed up
hope
on a
not.
search.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I was like, thanks, Mom. But
I can't believe your mother would have been on that internet and would have
yeah,
seen somebody doing that business, that monkey
no,
business.
well, I know, and of course it's my name, so it would have been almost 60 years ago. So, so but it was just
That is so funny.
still anyway. So you didn't know that, did you?
I did not.
You just look at me and tell that woman was named after a porn star.
Oh, named after porn. I believe that.
Anyway, so there. Now we talked about food and magic
Have we
and
talked about food? I don't
a
believe
little
we've
bit.
talked
We talked about squash. That's
well,
food.
but we talked about it as a plant. We did not talk about it as food.
That's true. Well, tell me
We have
something.
not talked about food. I'm proud of us.
Yeah, it's weird to think that we.
Well, perhaps
yeah,
next week we will remember. We
yeah.
will talk about food, and I will tell you how I got my name.
Oh, I want to know. Yeah.
There you go.
All right. That sounds like a plan.
It is a
So
plan. We won't remember it, but it is a plan.
that's right. Y'all help us remember. So I guess the next time I talk to you, you will have been to Puff and back.
Yes, I will.
And I will sing the Puff the Magic Dragon song in your honor
Okay.
all that first day.
Oh, that'll be so good.
Puff the Magic Dragon. Oh, hey,
right,
now we
be
talked about
good.
music.
That's right. We didn't talk about that either.
No,
All right. You be good, and
Yeah,
I will
you
be
too.
good. And
Have
I
a-
will get back in touch with you when I get back.
Yeah, and both y'all stay safe and enjoy yourself.
Yes, that's a big thing. And what I say on Facebook today is that love big.
Yeah.
Love big.
That's a good thing to do.
Yeah.
Ask me. So, well, I enjoyed talking to you.
Me too. It's been a while.
Yeah. So,
It's been well, kind of a minute. It's been a Smoky Mountain minute. All right. I'll see you. Bye.
yeah, bye. Hey, thank you for spending your time with us here at Wyrd Mountain Gals. We sure do appreciate it. You know, I know time is the most important thing we have. So I promise that if you take your time to listen to us, we'll take our time to continue to be weird. Many thanks to Sunslice Records for all the help. We couldn't do it without you, Craig. Check out our social media for information, community, or a few laughs. WYRD Mountain Gals.
WYRD Radio.